plus all the smiling faces. The Riders have locked down a new head coach, the first Canadian to helm the team in more than 20 years.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
Good evening and thank you for watching. A former major junior hockey coach with the Regina Pats has been found guilty of historical sexual assault and assault. A judge in Regina today convicted Bernie Lynch for committing those crimes against a teenager in 1988. Lynch used to be an assistant coach with the Pats. Jonathan Gatehouse has more.
Former junior hockey coach Bernie Lynch sat with his head down as the guilty verdict was delivered in a Regina court. He had denied charges he sexually and physically assaulted a 17-year-old player during a 1988 summer hockey camp.
It's the result we wanted when we brought the case to court. The Crown all along has felt that we had a pretty compelling case.
The judge called the victim's testimony clear and visceral, and the former coach's evasive and combative. During the September trial, the former player, now in his 50s, spoke emotionally about what happened at Lynch's apartment when he was a junior prospect, testifying the coach plied him with alcohol and later sexually assaulted him in the shower. The Crown prosecutor said the decision is a vindication for the former player and perhaps a message to others.
Whether there are people who may come forward as a result of this, I don't know. But if there is, hopefully they'll see this as some motivation to tell their story too.
Lynch's career came to a halt in early 2021 after a CBC News investigation revealed concerns about inappropriate texts and controlling relationships with young players while coaching in Fort Frances, Ontario and Edson, Alberta. Reports that convinced the former Regina Pats prospect to go to police. In a phone interview with CBC News following the verdict, the former player, who can't be identified under a publication ban, said he's relieved.
I can start to move forward, really move forward.
Lynch remains free on bail. Sentencing will take place in early January. The Crown says it will be seeking significant time in a federal prison. Jonathan Gatehouse, CBC News, Toronto.
Tracy Bergen wants answers from Saskatoon police. Bergen's teenage son and his two friends were stopped at gunpoint by police last Saturday night. Officers believed the teens were connected to an armed robbery. Bergen is frustrated because police won't talk about what happened. Dan Zakreski brings us the story.
He said he got out of the vehicle straight up like this. There was no low ready. They were pointed straight at them.
Tracy Bergen says her teenage son is still shaken by his run-in with police last Saturday night.
And then he also said the first thought that went through his head was, I'm really glad I took my hands out of my pockets to open the door, because if my hands had been in my pockets, would they have shot me?
The drama unfolded just after 8 p.m. outside this Dollarama in the Brighton neighborhood. But it actually began 40 minutes earlier. And 3 kilometers away at this ATM machine in a mall in another neighborhood. Police say 2 men with guns held up another man who was withdrawing some cash. They were wearing masks. Tracy Bergen wants to know how police went from hunting for 2 suspects with guns and masks to stopping 3 teens going into a store to buy chocolate bars. She says the boys were ordered at gunpoint onto the ground, handcuffed and then taken into cruisers for questioning. They were released and then their parents called.
When I contacted police to kind of get an explanation and find out what had happened, the description that they told me they were going off of was, well, your son was wearing a black toque. So that was the description. So they said, and the armed robbers were wearing balaclavas.
Police say they're not going to give any more details about what happened or meet face-to-face with Tracy Bergen and the other parents because the incident may be the subject of a formal complaint. Now, Bergen says because of that, that's exactly what's going to happen. Dan Zakreski, CBC News, Saskatoon.
Saskatoon City Council has finally finished an intense budget debate. The goal of the 4-day endeavor was to reduce what was a 7.22% property tax hike facing residents. The end result is a 6% tax increase next year. Works out to about $10.50 more a month for the average homeowner. Despite that, nearly half of City Council voted against the budget's final draft. Some councillors argued that residents can't deal with more taxes. Mayor Charlie Clark says the cut down from the 18% facing council this summer will lead to some impacts in the city.
That is on my mind, that some of the things that this budget means is we're not going to get as many roads paved this year as we have. We're putting some pressure on our mechanics to be able to keep up with fleet because they're not going to have as much as they'd hoped for in some of those departments and some of the maintenance areas. You know, we've opened Recovery Park, but it's going to have less staff than we hoped for, and so and there's going to be less sweeping of medians and some of those things.
Clark says the property tax increase is essential to keeping the city running. The budgeted increase is the biggest hike since 2014, when taxes went up by 7.4%. Ahead of the Premier's trip to Dubai for COP28 next week, the opposition continues to criticize the cost and purpose of the government's trip. The guest list for Saskatchewan's pavilion reveals 59 different businesses and organizations using their event space, but none of them are paying for it, and about half of them are not from the province.
I find it hard to believe that the Premier of Saskatchewan thinks the best way to do business with the University of Guelph is to meet them halfway in Dubai.
Premier Scott Moe said earlier this week that this trip to the UN Climate Change Conference is necessary to sell Saskatchewan and its businesses and products internationally. The NDP has argued that the $765,000 cost to host this pavilion space will balloon to $1 million once travel and accommodations for the Premier and government staff are factored in. The government disputes that amount. Mo's last trip to the United Arab Emirates was in May of 2022 and reportedly cost $65,000. He was accompanied by 4 staff, the same amount he's taking to COP28. The Saskatchewan Roughriders do have a new head coach. Corey Mace is the 48th coach in Roughrider history. Mace says he is excited to get his first shot to lead a team. Adam Hunter has more.
Happy to introduce our new head coach, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Corey Mace.
Corey Mace could not hide his smile, fulfilling a dream of becoming a CFL head coach. The Port Moody, BC product is the first Canadian to coach the Riders in more than 20 years.
J.O. called me and I was there and he said, hey, I'm in the team meeting room and I'm standing at the podium and he said, I can't unsee you. And I said, hey, don't you start talking to me like that unless you mean it. Don't you say that. It was elation. It was elation. It was celebration. It's quite honestly, it's still sinking in.
Mace is a 3-time Grey Cup champion, winning once as a player and twice as a coach. He says he wants the team to reflect its fan base and community.
Blue-collar, hard-working community. Well, we're going to be a blue-collar, hard-working football team. And we're fast, physical, smart. Okay, these are all different things that we'll attack. But certainly a product that I would love for the fan base to come back and be extremely proud of, man. It's going to be fun, brother.
Mace says quarterback Trevor Harris is in his plans for next season. The 37-year-old was injured early on this year, but aims to be back on the field next year.
I think the relationship that Trevor and I build together, he's going to be an extension of my voice on the field. I'm a firm believer of, coaches, we can give them all the information they want, but the players are out there getting it done. So when you kind of get an assistant coach, out there as some players, that helps.
Mace has a couple of things on his to-do list. First, finding a realtor. He plans to move to Regina with his wife and 2 young children. He says he also wants to speak to the Saskatchewan Roughrider players, and he says he has his coaching staff in mind and hopes to name them within the next few weeks. Adam Hunter, CBC News, Regina.
Oh, it was a cooler day today with some wind, but it was a gorgeous sunny one too. What a lovely way to start out December, the last month of the year. It looks like we are in for a really nice weekend as well. Aishwarya Duda will have your final forecast for the week after the break. Stay with us. Now taking the first step in creating a public alert system for missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. Olivia Stefanovich has more on what's being called the red dress alert.
Such a long wait.
Stephanie English says she wished there would have been a public-wide alert when her 25-year-old daughter Joey went missing.
I really struggled with that. How I found out with my daughter, one of my daughters, is the knock on the door after 19 days later.
Ottawa is now trying to change the way the country responds to missing Indigenous women, launching consultations to make a new emergency notification system a reality. Just like Amber Alerts for missing children, a red dress alert would notify the public on their phones whenever an Indigenous woman, girl, or two-spirit person goes missing.
All those opposed to the motion will please say nay. Carried.
A motion by New Democrat MP Leah Gazan received the support of the House of Commons for a red dress alert.
There's no more time to wait. There's no more time for excuses. We need a red dress now.
The National Inquiry into Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls recommended a nationwide emergency number for disappearances.
The first 24 hours that a person goes missing is absolutely vital to use to try to locate the individual.
The inquiry's chief commissioner has since worked with Washington State to develop North America's first alert system for all missing Indigenous people. Something this advocate says she wants Canada to follow.
Our men and boys who are just as valued, of course, as everyone else.
English says the time to act is now.
It's been 8 years, and I still haven't heard anything about my daughter. And it's very important, very crucial that we have that support from the government.
It's a matter, she says, of saving lives. Olivia Stefanovich, CBC News, Ottawa.
The weather update is brought to you by Capital Ford Lincoln. 2023 model clear-out is on now.
A live look at downtown Regina tonight, where it's currently -5. It was such a nice start to December, though a little cooler today. Ashwarya Duda joins me now with your forecast.
Chilly morning, but we warmed up really quickly. Even got some sunshine in most parts of South and Central, including here in Saskatoon. But it's December, and still we're not seeing a lot of snow on the ground in much of the province. Let's take a look at those current sky conditions. Seeing some light cloud cover over much of the province, but skies clearing up over Saskatoon and Prince Albert. Seasonal temperatures for much of the province. Buffalo Narrows at -8, La Ronge at -10. And moving to South and Central, Saskatoon at -4, Yorkton at -6, and Regina at -4 as well. Staying fairly calm in terms of those winds throughout the province. We're not expecting them to pick up anytime soon, and they're coming in from the south, so not chilly either. But we are expecting some increasing cloudiness overnight. It clears out for parts of South and Central by tomorrow morning. We'll see some sunshine in Saskatoon, Swift Current, Regina, Yorkton, and even in Estevan. Sunday morning, we see that cloud cover build back in. It should clear out in the evening, but then a weak system is moving through Sunday night into Monday from west central part of Saskatchewan, so we'll get some snow, light snow in Kindersley, moving to the central part over North Battleford, and then moving to southeastern parts over Yorkton and even in Moose Jaw before it exits out of the province, leaving behind some cloud cover into Monday night. We're not expecting significant amounts in terms of accumulating snowfall, just between 2 to 4 centimeters, about 3 centimeters in Saskatoon, 2 in Regina, 4 centimeters in Yorkton. Regina, let's take a look at your 7-day forecast. Tomorrow's high will be -1. Overnight low on the weekend at -10, so closer to seasonal. And then that weak system passing through, it'll bring some flurries in Regina as well. But then we see that a rise in temperatures getting into next week. 2 degrees on Tuesday, 5 on Wednesday. And then there's another chance of some flurries on Thursday, ending the week at the freezing mark. Overnight lows in the minus single digits next week and pretty close to the daytime highs actually. Saskatoon as well, tomorrow's daytime highs -4, Sunday -3, and then getting into Monday, we'll be skipping that system that's passing through, seeing a rise in temperatures on Tuesday going up to 5 degrees, and then Wednesday we're back to 2 and dropping down to -2 on Thursday, ending the week with some flurries on Friday. So Sam, the weather can't seem to decide what it wants to be. Is it sweater weather? Is it winter jacket season? It's kind of in between.
All right, thanks, Aishwarya. Well, take a look at this, a mouth-watering gingerbread city created by the Museum of Architecture in London. All of it is completely edible and are sure to satisfy any sweet tooth. Ingredients include popcorn, chocolate, gummy sweets, and a lot of icing. It took more than 100 architects, engineers, and designers to make the tasty creations. The exhibition is sponsored by a UK charity that promotes sustainable designs to help tackle climate change. We'll be back after the break.
When it comes to your news, you want up-to-the-minute access. Anytime, anywhere. Get the facts straight from the source. Download the free CBC News app or visit cbcnews.ca for news you can trust.
Welcome back. Multiple women in Canada are speaking out in a Fifth Estate investigation. Some say they were sexually assaulted by Nathan Chasinghorse. They want to know why more wasn't done to stop him. He's the former actor known for his role in the movies Dances with Wolves, now in custody in the United States, charged with a series of sex crimes in both countries. Mark Kelly has more.
Nathan Chasinghorse traveled to communities across North America as a spiritual leader, holding healing ceremonies, sweat lodges, and sun dances. It's a position of trust that many women say he betrayed, women like Nicole Bigcrow. She says Chasinghorse offered to drive her to a ceremony in Tsuut'ina Nation outside Calgary, but sexually assaulted her on a remote trail instead. It was 2008.
I didn't know how to say no, I didn't know how to stop it, I just...
And you were 15?
I was only 15, yeah.
She says he assaulted her twice more. She went to Tsuut'ina police in 2009. She says she was told there wasn't enough evidence to lay charges.
How did that make you feel?
Just defeated, I guess. Like, felt more ashamed, if anything.
The Fifth Estate has learned of 4 women in Tsuut'ina who say they were sexually assaulted by Chasinghorse. All were teenagers at the time. Our investigation led us to Talatatusis in Saskatchewan. She filed a sexual assault complaint against Chasinghorse with the police in 2015. She says the police never got back to her.
Why didn't people stop it? Why didn't people say anything? When people spoke out, people said he was a rapist. We told our story, we weren't believed. Why weren't we believed?
The RCMP in Carameos, BC also received a complaint about Chasinghorse in 2018. So why did it take an investigation by police in Las Vegas to arrest him years later?
When it's a he said, she said type situation, and there's no other corroborating evidence, sometimes police investigators are hesitant to pursue a charge with the Crown. So,
But you realize the possible impact of that.
100%, and certainly I don't condone that, but I'm just offering you perhaps a reason for why that might have happened.
Chasinghorse is in custody in Las Vegas. He pleaded not guilty to the 18 charges against him and has appealed to have the case against him dismissed. But after his arrest there, he now faces 1 charge in BC and multiple charges in Alberta. Mark Kelly, CBC News in Tsuut'ina Nation.
You can watch the entire Fifth Estate investigation tonight at 9 p.m. on CBC Gem and CBC Television.
Temperatures staying close to seasonal in Regina tonight. Let's take a look at midnight. It will be -8 in Regina. Still seeing some of that cloud cover tonight. Those winds staying calm though, just coming from the southeast at about 20 kilometers an hour. Getting into the morning by 8 a.m. Temperature doesn't change a lot, going to -9. Those clouds sticking around, and then by the noon hour the temperature will rise to about -4, and we'll get some sunny skies in the forecast for Regina for the rest of the day. And Saskatoon as well, seeing some of that cloud cover tonight. Temperature -11 at midnight. By 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, it'll be up at -9, and we'll see some of that those clouds lingering by that morning hour. And at 12 p.m. Saskatoon, the temperature will be -6, and some sunshine in store for you folks as well.
All right, thanks, Ashwarya. And before we leave you this week, there are just 24 more days until Christmas. So how excited are you for the holiday season, and what are your plans? We set out to ask a few people how they are feeling this holiday season.
Pretty excited. I'm looking forward to seeing my little one here enjoy a lot of the toys she's been pointing out in the magazines already.
A little stressed.
I love Christmas.
I love Christmas. I'm so excited. I feel like it's going to be a super good Christmas this year.
I think Christmas is a luxury that a lot of working people can't really afford, especially if you got lots of kids and you're a single parent. So
I'm excited. I love Christmas.
Like any other Christmas sort of thing. We're older, so Christmas isn't about gifts and presents and stuff like that. It's about getting together with family and
feeling pretty happy.
Thinking a lot about the budgeting helped.
I feel like it's kind of daunting.
Seeing how I just quit my job, I need to save my money.
I've bought some stuff used that my kids wanted, and I am trying to stick within a budget because, prices are higher for sure.
Not buying as many gifts as I usually do.
We don't eat out as much, like we don't order, pizza and stuff like that.
I've been cutting back on a few things like takeout, eating out, watching the gas with the car.
I budget every month. And it's hard. It's hard with gas being more and food. It's been really hard for me to stay in my budget.
I usually make like gingerbread houses or go skating or sledding.
We get together, we live out at the lake, so we get together at the cabin and do lots of outside things.
A family dinner and then opening presents by the fire.
Well, we celebrate Christmas twice because I'm also Ukrainian ancestry, so we basically have a supper which is, it's not free, but it's basically a supper, and we get together and celebrate and just rejoice in being together. So those would be the things we do.
I go to Government House. They just had their thing last Friday, and that was a free event that Santa's at and stuff.
Like to cook our own little dishes, come together and make a big supper meal. And to me, that feels really good. Like, it's my in-laws that I eat with, and it's their tradition, and I kind of got into it this last few years. So I like that. That I find really, it's a good environment. Happy, laughing, jokes, talking, catching up, and all the food. So, it doesn't really require anything but, your presence, so.
It's a nice way to go into the weekend. That is it for us this week. For news anytime, you can always head to our website, subscribe to the CBC Saskatchewan YouTube channel, or go download the CBC News app. Thanks so much for watching this week. Have a great night.